The custom Hearthstone subreddit has been a thriving community for 10 years now, and for a long time, Trump, rest in peace, posted weekly videos going over the most popular cards that were posted there, and I always look forward to them. You know, as someone who's not very creative, it was always interesting seeing the different ideas people would come up with there. And as Trump hasn't posted one of these videos in over a year now, I thought I'd give it a shot and see if I can keep it going again. So today I will be going over the top 5 most interesting cards posted this week to me, and hopefully someone finds this as interesting as I used to find Trump's videos. So for the first card this week, we have Relaxing Fisher. It is a 2-mana 3/2 neutral minion with whenever you dredge, draw a card. Pretty simple. And I'll be honest, when I first saw this card, I was so surprised that this wasn't a card already in the game, because it's just such a simple and clean mechanic. And personally, I think dredge is one of the most interesting keywords they've added in the last few years, and I really wish it got more support. Something like this makes total sense. I wish there were more cards that interacted with dredge. You know, there was a handful that, reduced the cost of the card you dredged or had an effect based on the card you dredged, but I feel like they could have just done so much more with it. Super simple card, super simple text, but super interesting. I think this would have fit into the game perfectly. And just so it's clear, I'm not going to be rating these cards today for a couple of reasons. One, I don't want to just copy Trump's style one for one. And two, I'm not a pro player by any means. So me rating the balance of these cards would be no different than me diagnosing that strange lump on your foot. So I'll just be showing off these cards, talking about them a bit, giving my thoughts. And if you have anything you want to add, if you think the cards are good, bad, feel free to comment below. But as I said, I loved dredge as a keyword, and I will always be rooting for Blizzard to bring it back in a future expansion. Next up, we have Toyrim, Tabletop Lord. It is a 3-mana 3/4 Shaman legendary minion with Battle Cry. All spells have Overload 1 until your next turn. And I'll be honest, when I first saw this card, I wasn't too impressed by it until I realized the fact that this Battle Cry would also affect your opponent as well. I'm a huge fan of cards that can be used multiple ways, right? This card could be used at the beginning of your turn to maybe have some overload synergy, or it could be used at the end of your turn as almost like a pseudo Lotheb, making your opponent have to make some tough choices with the spells they may play the next turn. So yeah, super cool design. I really hope that Blizzard continues to add cards like this that can be used multiple ways, right? I think a recent example of that is the miniaturized cards. For some of them, the front half of the card can be used, say, one way, and the back half can be used a different way. And I think it's super neat. I think cards shouldn't just be like cookie cutter. I think you should actually have to make decisions, and cards can be used in different situations, whether defensively, offensively. So I think this design super, super cool. Next up, we have Insurance Agent. It is a 2-mana 2/3 Warlock minion with whenever you discard a card, get a coin. And if you couldn't tell by the last minion, I love cards that can be used in different ways. So with this card, the coin can be used either to ramp a bit and recoup some of the tempo loss with the discard, or it can be used to feed further discards. And I know for a long time, discard decks were kind of a meme. For years, Blizzard kept trying to make different discard Warlock cards, and they just never worked. And it did get to a point now where there is a critical mass of discard cards and discard synergies that it actually works. So I don't know if this card would maybe be too strong, but hey, I'm all for more options. And like I said, I like cards that actually give you choices and different ways to play them. Next up, we have Trojan Horse. It is a 2-mana 0/4 Paladin minion with Stealth for 1 turn, Inspire and Death Rattle, summon 2 1/1 Silverhand Recruits. And right off the bat, from a flavor perspective, this card is a home run. I think this card just nails it, and that was what caught my eye instantly with this card. Also, the Inspire keyword was the other reason I picked this card, because I think Inspire is a heavily underutilized keyword. It was used very, very early on in the game's life cycle when cards were kind of underpowered and Blizzard was still kind of finding their footing with design decisions. So in terms of modern Hearthstone, the Inspire cards are trash. I can't think of a single Inspire card that would be played at this point. And even back in the day, a lot of the Inspire cards weren't played just because they were so bad. But I think it would be interesting for Blizzard to revisit Inspire in modern Hearthstone, right? Because I sometimes wonder, is Inspire the keyword bad, or were just the cards that utilized it bad? If Inspire was used in more modern cards and stronger cards, would it be a more interesting keyword and a better keyword? I don't know, but I think this is super cool design. Again, the flavor win is great. Do I think this card would be played? I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a pro player by any means. I'm not even really a Paladin player. but you're essentially, what, paying 4 mana if you hero power once, getting 4 Silverhand Recruits and a 0/4 body? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Lastly, we have a set of 4 cards that all use the same mechanic. Essentially, it is a minion with a battle cry that when it dies, it turns into a spell with the same effect. First off, we have the Demon Hunter minion. It is a 3 mana 3/2 with battle cry, deal 3 damage to the lowest health enemy, and then when it dies, you get a 3 mana spell that does the same effect. Then we have the Mage minion. It is a 1 mana 1/2 with battle cry, gain 2 armor, and again, when it dies, you get a 1 mana spell that gains you 2 armor. Next up, we have the Warrior minion. It is a 4 mana 4/3 with battle cry, draw a fire spell, give it spell damage +2, and then when it dies, you get a spell that deals the same effect. I'm guessing there's some kind of typo here. Either they should both be 4 mana or 3 mana. I'm not totally sure, but if it's following the previous cards, that's how it would work. And lastly, we have the Warlock minion. It is a 1 mana 1/1 with battle cry, deal 1 damage to an enemy minion, and lifesteal. And then again, when it dies, you get a 1 mana spell, lifesteal, deal 1 damage to an enemy minion. So if the previous cards are anything to go by, I love options, right? These cards here are very reminiscent of, say, Twin Spell or Echo, or maybe even Miniaturize, where you're just getting free extra value off the card, which I think is great. Cards like this feel good to play. You might have some kind of synergy with the spell side of it, and it's just free value. Who doesn't like free value, right? That'll be it for this week. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and leave a comment. Let me know. Did you like these cards? Did you think they're balanced? Did you think they're trash? Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully I'll see you next week.